gentlemen, it's Murmu magic on Raisina Hills. Draupadi Murmu's name has been etched in history as she becomes the first ever tribal woman to become the President of India. With this win, Draupadi Murmu will be the second female president of the country and the first woman from Odisha, and will be India's youngest president ever. As soon as the numbers establish that Draupadi Murmu will be the next occupant at Rashtrapati Bhavan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived at the president-elect's home to congratulate her. The Prime Minister was accompanied by BJP President JP Nadda. Listen in to what her ecstatic brother had to say.
Joining with me is the younger brother of Droupadi Murmu. Sir, जो ऐतिहासिक नतीजा आना था वो आ चुका है. कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं आप अभी?
बहुत खुशी महसूस कर रहा हूँ. कहे मेरा दीदी मतलब राष्ट्रपति बन गया, उससे खुशी के बाद क्या हो सकता है. उसका भाई का नाते मेरे को बहुत खुशी है.
क्या आपको सर उम्मीद था कि इतने बहुमत से आप लोग जीतेंगे?
ये तो उम्मीद नहीं था, लेकिन जितना आदमी से वो हर जगह जाके संसद से और एमएलए से मिला, उसी टाइम से पता चला कि दीदी जीत जाएगी करके.
सर, इसके बाद अगला प्लान क्या है? कब आप लोग जा रहे हैं दिल्ली राजधानी?
हम लोग 23 तारीख का टिकट काट चुका है. दिल्ली 23 तारीख को जा रहे हैं.
सर, आखिरी सवाल, जिस तरीके से सुबह से रायरंगपुर के वासी यहाँ पे मौजूद थे, सपोर्ट कर रहे थे, नाच रहे थे, गाना गा रहे थे, उनके लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
बस उनके तो उन लोग बहुत खुशी था, इसीलिए उन लोग को भी बधाई देना चाहता हूँ कि दीदी का मतलब खुशी में मतलब उन लोग जुड़ा हुआ था, इसीलिए उन लोग को बहुत बहुत बधाई है.
Her opponent and opposition leaders joined in to congratulate President Draupadi Murmu, though the formal announcement is still left. Yashwant Sinha, while congratulating, said the poll process has brought the opposition closer. Rahul Gandhi congratulated the President-elect Draupadi Murmu, while Mamata Banerjee said that the country will sincerely look up to Draupadi Murmu as the head of the state to protect the ideals of our constitution. After taking a mammoth lead, Draupadi Murmu raced to the halfway mark, leaving behind her rival Yashwant Sinha after the counting of round 3. Murmu had received 53% of the electoral vote, with a total vote of 5,77,777 votes versus Yashwant Sinha's 2,61,062 votes. But what's troubling for the opposition is the cross-voting that took place for the NDA's candidate. 17 members of parliament from the opposition and 104 MLAs in 12 states have cross-voted for Draupadi Murmu. 22 MLAs in Assam alone cross-voted in favor of Draupadi Murmu, while 19 MLAs in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra 16 MLAs, Gujarat 10, Jharkhand 10, 6 MLAs also voted for Draupadi Murmu in Bihar, and 6 in Chhattisgarh, 4 in Goa. And that just shows the amount of inroads that the NDA has been able to make into the vote base of the opposition parties. If this wasn't enough, the opposition is in disarray. In fact, even before the vice president's voting can happen, Trinamool Congress has made it clear that it will abstain from voting for Margaret Alva, the Congress's candidate. They say that they weren't consulted and she was picked up in haste. Listen in.
I'm objecting to the process the opposition candidate was announced without consulting and deliberating and interacting with a party which has 35 MPs in both the house. And also ideologically, I cannot support the NDA candidate, come what may. So that is the reason we have decided to refrain ourselves from participating in the voting process.
Well, and it's not very calmly that Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary responded to this and in fact called out names to Mamata Banerjee, calling her a political fraud and a liar. But that's just the language that he uses, says the Trinamool Congress. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the legitimate question that we're asking on the Newshour tonight. Raisina verdict, has it revealed the 2024 trend? That's the question we're asking. Hashtag Murmu, Madam President. The debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the Newshour tonight, GVL Narsimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining us is Smita Prakash, Editor ANI, Sushmita Dev, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, Tehseen Poonawala, Political Analyst, Akshay Marathe, Spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me get in Sushmita Dev ji first. Sushmita Dev, 17 members of parliament have cross-voted and 104 MLAs from different states have cross-voted in favor of Droupadi Murmu. Does this really show any amount of opposition strategy, unity, or any war plan to try and defeat the NDA? Or as always, Akla Cholo Re is the way we are going to see the opposition going?
See, first of all, opposition unity vis-a-vis the president's election and the 2024 elections are two very different issues. And I can't say that which are the parties that cross-voted because I haven't studied the results, but it's definitely not from the Trinamool Congress. It is very simple. President's election is an election which doesn't have a whip and it's a vote of conscience. So the parties from whose ranks people have broken, you should be asking that question. As far as Trinamool Congress is concerned, we voted as per our leader's decision and there was absolutely no breaking away from our ranks. And people who cross-voted from the opposition I don't know who they are, so I can't comment for the other parties. And I would also like to say, Navika, at the end of the day, she is the president-elect and I congratulate her and I wish her all the very best. It's a very important job and a very significant one given the backdrop of the nation where constitution and the institutions of India are clearly under threat. She's going to be playing a very big and significant role. I wish her all the very best.
Well, Sushmita Dev, gracious of you to say that, but there are two words or rather expressions that you use that I must pick on and get GVL Narsimha Rao to respond to them. Sushmita Dev started with saying at the end of the day, Droupadi Murmu is the president-elect. Well, she was the president-elect or going to be the president-elect at the beginning of the day when the announcement was made, number one. And number two, she also said that presidential votes don't carry a whip. People vote according to their conscience, but then slipped in. Our leader had decided that we have not to vote for Droupadi Murmu, so we voted the other way. So no conscience required for the Trinamool Congress MLAs and MPs, GVL Narsimha Rao. Am I making a logical conclusion from this or do you think it can be inferred any other way?
Navika ji, to you, to the viewers of Times Now and to the people of this country, I would like to congratulate all the people of this country, including myself. This is a historic moment. We have a very, very qualified tribal leader, a woman elected as the president-elect. I think it's in the 75th year of independence. This is a very, very historic moment, ऐतिहासिक moment hai. So I think let's celebrate that first of all. And given the suitability of her nomination, given her credentials, her rise to eminence from very ordinary and very poor background, I think she represents the spirit of these people of this country. She represents the spirit of the most deprived people of this country who strive hard by their own merit to achieve distinction in their lives. And therefore, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, a candidate fielded by the BJP NDA, her election gives tremendous confidence and tremendous happiness to the people of this country that you can achieve in 75th year of independence. The people of this country can aspire for any position based on their worth and merit, not based on the families they come from, not based on their personal loyalties to individuals or families, but by their own merit. I think therefore it's a very, very important moment in our country's history. And as regards the opposition strategy is concerned, if there is anything called a strategy, that is absent. It would have been befitting for the opposition to support the candidature of Srimati Draupadi Murmu if they really believe in justice, social justice, if they really believed in electing somebody who is most suitable, whose election actually makes people of this country proud. I think the opposition certainly, I would call it actually arrogance. They may not like the word, but arrogance, even when they don't have the numbers, they do not want the election of a woman politician from very, very humble origins to be given a easy election, to be given a unanimous election. It's only the attempt was to somehow make it look that the polity is divided. I don't think there is anyone who can oppose candidature or election of Honorable Srimati Draupadi Murmu, but they did not want this moment to be a moment of unity for all the political parties and political people in this country. But whatever may have been their acts of omission and commission, we have a very, very capable, very able and an inspiring lady
absolutely
as the
proud moment for India.
And we will all look forward to 5 years of her. Yes. It's
absolutely proud moment for India as a woman from a backward community, a community that has a lot of ground to cover even after 75 years of our independence, and making it on the dint of her own hard work. And that merit that has brought her here is inspirational, and I'm sure many in this country will take inspiration from that. But Tehseen Poonawala, that's not to be for the Congress party. The Congress party still begins to wonder where the world really begins from their own candidates and their own politics.
Navika ji, at the onset, let me extend my heartiest congratulations to Srimati Droupadi ji. She is now our president, and we wish her all the best, wish her all the success, because when she succeeds, India succeeds, you and I succeeds. We may have different political points of view, but we all wish for India to succeed, so we wish her success. I heard the Honorable Member of Parliament and my friend from the BJP, GVL Narsimha Rao ji, and he spoke very highly of Droupadi ji, and he should. She does deserve to be President of India. But you know, my angst with the BJP is, when the BJP opposed, for example, K.R. Narayan ji, the first Dalit President of India, is it the stand of the Honorable Member of Parliament today that K.R. Narayan ji, the first Dalit President of India, did not deserve to be Rashtrapati? When the BJP opposed the first tribal speaker in the Parliament, and that's the democratic right, is the BJP anti-tribal? Or when they opposed Pratibha Patil, a distinguished woman, a national table tennis player champion, table tennis level champion, when they opposed her, are they anti-women? Let's not get into calling each other adjectives. Today is a historic day. Let's celebrate the victory. But understand, you've opposed, we've opposed. The Congress gave the country the first tribal chief minister in Gujarat, 85, first tribal chief minister in Odisha, 89. You all opposed that, and that's fine. That's your right. So let's come to that. Coming to the TMC, my name for the TMC, I think TMC should now decide whether it wants to only help the BJP, because it certainly helped the BJP in Goa, whether it wants to be a fence sitter, because when Sushmita ji, again, I have a lot of respect for her, she says democracy is being bulldozed, is being trampled upon. What are you doing? You're a participant in this. You foisted Yashwant Sinha ji upon the opposition. Mamta ji should have taken Yashwant Sinha ji to all those who were not UPA, not NDA, and tried to get their votes. She should have taken him to Hemant Soren. She should have taken him to others who would not have, who could, and tried to swing their votes. She didn't do that. Now when it's the vice president, you don't want to come along with the opposition. You're not a part of the UPA, but everything you do ends up helping the NDA win. So you need to decide, because now motives are being attributed to the TMC. We are not asking that the TMC should come and protest for Mrs. Gandhi. Don't expect all that from the TMC. The least that TMC can do is be a part of opposition unity. The AAP came across, others came across, and if you're not a part of it, come and talk. Opposition unity will be built by dialogue, not with arrogance, not with saying you didn't consult us, so we will not come on board. Everyone else is on board, and that's my only suggestion to the TMC. Again, I have a lot of respect for Mamta ji, for Sushmita ji, but it's time to work as a team if you have to defeat Prime Minister Modi and the BJP. We cannot have one party going one way, one party going the other way.
Sushmita Dev, you should come and talk. They will not call you, but you should come and talk. And they will call you, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary will call you or your leader a political liar, a fraudster, but you should come and talk. Do you agree with Tehseen Poonawala?
See, Tehseen Poonawala is a political analyst, but what he's failing to analyze here is the fact that it is Mamta Banerjee who took the initiative when it came to the president's election. And it is not Mamta Banerjee who was in London before the president's election. And number two, it is very simple. If you want opposition unity, no doubt Congress is a larger national party. We cannot deny it. They have a larger presence in this country. But they need to shed their arrogance. They need to shed their arrogance because they need to realize that the one single reason why the BJP keeps winning and coming back to power is because the people at the helm of affairs in the Congress party, which is the Gandhi family, have to realize what their limitations are. They have to realize not what the people inside the party want, which is the Gandhi family, but what 135 crore people think that Congress should be doing. So they need to take off those glasses of theirs. And I have seen many rallies of the Congress party in Ramlila ground. Let alone my father, I have myself done Congress for 30 years. And in the Ramlila ground, there are 30 or 50,000 people. Today, Mamta Didi did one rally in Bengal with 7.5 lakh people. And after a long time, I could put a tweet saying that today I am with a mass leader. Okay, so the day Congress party realizes where they stand with the masses, they will start thinking differently. And also let me put this on record, what Adhir Ranjan ji says is of no relevance because Adhir Ranjan has been in cahoots with the left for donkey's years to keep winning his post and has never travelled the length and breadth of Bengal to revive Congress. That's the reputation of Adhir Ranjan. Okay, and Navika ji, let me tell you something. Today, as I join the nation in congratulating Droupadi Murmu ji, in a democracy, when you contest any election, whether it's presidential, whether it's vice presidential, whether it's an MP election, that's how a democracy works. And you cannot demean any party for putting up a contest and fighting a position. That's democracy. Otherwise, we would be a one-party. Otherwise, we would be a one-party nation, which is not fair. That doesn't happen in a democracy.
Just allow me a one-line rebuttal.
Fair point, Tehseen Poonawala. Tehseen Poonawala, if you know what's good for you, you will not try to, you will not want to brazen it out at this stage because Sushmita Dev, who's been in the Congress for centuries, as has her father, who I have met as a reporter in my younger days, she's demolished the Congress party and given you the truth of the Congress party as stark as anybody can. So what? No, just hang on. Let me get in Smita Prakash. Smita Prakash, who's worn a Sambalpuri sari, in solidarity with Draupadi Murmu ji, who's been elected and has won the presidential election. So Smita Prakash, what do you think this election and the victory of Draupadi Murmu actually reflects on current day politics and on 2024? Do you think, as the opposition, it has no bearing on 2024 or the way the opposition is stacked right now? Well, firstly, I think as a woman who has, is a career person, media person, it feels great to have a woman president. Then it feels all the more great that a person who comes in from, one of the poorest sections of our country, she has become the president of India. So, a lot of hope rests on her, Navika, because she shoulders the responsibility of being a representative of tribals who are among the poorest in the country. Their consumption of, what we consider luxury goods, which are actually just consumer goods, is low as their access to drinking water, pakka roads, pakka houses is among the lowest. So for them, one among them has come to become the president. Will it change their lot immediately with a snap of the fingers? It's not going to do that. It's not done that for the Dalits after Ramnath Kovind became, or after anybody, I mean, for that matter, Mayawati became chief minister. It's not like that. That's not the reality. But in spite of that, it just goes to show that despite her caste identity, she has risen to where she is. Now about the politics of it all, the fact is that, opposition unity is a chimera. Yashwant Sinha in his concession speech, unnecessarily caustic, he mentions about how the opposition got together behind him. I think it just showed that it showed up just the opposite. It showed up how fragmented the opposition was in his nomination first, because there was nobody, and I think Sushmita is right that nobody came up with a name. And finally it was Mamta who said, chalo, let's get together, and then asked Farooq Abdullah, Pucha, no, I don't want to become. And then let's not go into that, but the point is Yashwant Sinha was like a default choice that he became, and he nothing worked for him even after he became the presidential nominee. So today he speaks about threat to democracy and stuff like that in a concession speech. Absolutely no need to do that. It should just have been a congratulatory note. On the other hand, the Congress, which is so weird, I can't understand where they get their arrogance from. This talk about, that the TMC is arrogant, where is your arrogance coming from? I just can't understand. I mean, you have decimated one of the oldest parties in the country to this. I mean, everybody is watching today that while Draupadi Murmu is getting nominated, what are the Congress politicians doing? They did not go and court arrest over price rise or over whatever. They went and courted arrest all the top guns, courted arrest over ED questioning. So, they are so far removed from reality, it is embarrassing. And I wonder what's going to happen with the Margaret Alva nomination, now vice presidential election. I think, somewhere about this come talk to me and things like that, this childishness has to go. For the sake of opposition unity, it has to just end. Somewhere where TMC is saying that, we were not consulted, we were just told 15 minutes before. Now here is a woman candidate. There is somebody who has worked with you people in the past. Margaret Alva is a very, non-controversial candidate for that matter. Just join hands. Just for the sake of it. You know that she's doesn't stand a chance. She's probably going to lose too. But what is the harm in getting together and, for the sake of unity, as they say, they can just come together and do it. But I think today it is more about that. And, as far one more point I just want to make is that, this, how they all went against Murmu and called her names, it isn't so much about Murmu as it is about Modi. It is opposition to Murmu because she was a name suggested by Prime Minister Modi. So it was against Modi that they said all these weird comments about her. Well, so let me get in Mr. Marathe from the Aam Aadmi Party. Does the Aam Aadmi Party also believe that the Congress party is arrogant? Because the Trinamool Congress has said that. The fact that people's issues are not issues really for the Congress or any other party to court arrest. But the Congress goes and courts arrest big leaders, and they tweet, we have been arrested, God knows where we are being taken around and stuff like that. But they've forgotten Mehngai, they've forgotten inflation. And when it comes to somebody from the backward classes, the scheduled tribes, people who have been really at the end of the receiving line for any scheme in this country, when such a woman is put forward on the basis of merit and on the basis of being a representative, shouldn't it have been a moment when the opposition could have stood with the idea of India and idea of development of these communities in our country rather than looking at narrow political gains? Mr. Akshay Marathe?
Navika ji, first of all, on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party, I really want to extend our heartfelt, wholehearted congratulations to Ms. Draupadi Murmu ji. I'm sure it is a day of pride for her and her supporters and the rest of the country as well. At the same time, I do want to say that never in India's history, except for one exception, has a candidate who has been proposed by the ruling party lost a presidential election. So it is not a matter of shock or surprise that Srimati Draupadi Murmu ji has been elected as the President of India, and it is certainly not shocking for the Aam Aadmi Party that the candidate that we voted for did not become the President. But be that as it may, the President of India is not a political post. It is not that the BJP has won the election. It is an independent person, Ms. Murmu ji, who has won the election, and the Aam Aadmi Party has certainly no issues with that. We are very happy for Ms. Murmu ji, and we will work with her to protect the constitution and to make this great country even greater. When it comes to the politics of this election, I want to say on record, the Aam Aadmi Party from the very beginning was not involved in the deliberations with the opposition when it came to the selection of the candidate. After the opposition came together and decided on Mr. Yashwant Sinha ji, Aam Aadmi Party's Political Affairs Committee decided that we will support the opposition candidate. Even now, when the vice presidential election is coming up, the Aam Aadmi Party is not involved in that selection process. We will come to a decision very soon before the elections about whether or not we will support Srimati Margaret Alva ji. And to answer your question about the Congress party in specific, I've been watching today, today the Enforcement Directorate has called the Congress party president for questioning, and a lot of Congress supporters are on the ground. But, we have seen so many issues of national importance that have come and gone when the Congress party has failed to show up and failed to deliver for this country as an opposition party. It has been other parties like the Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has been at the forefront of challenging the BJP. And I think the Congress is vacating that space, and it has become a party just serving the interests of the Gandhi family. And it is a tragedy for this country that the main opposition party has decided to behave in this manner.
Well, Tehseen Poonawala, do you still have a one-liner left?
I have more than one line since it's one against everybody. So I hope that as speaker you protect my right to reply. So first to Sushmita ji. Sushmita ji, I am a political analyst and I analyze the situation extremely well. I think as a member of parliament you are slightly mistaken. Ma'am, Rahul Gandhi is neither the president of the Congress party nor the chairperson of the UPA. Unlike, I know the BJP is obsessed with him, but I didn't know the TMC was also obsessed with him, that you brought out a London jibe. If you had to discuss, Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji is the person you should have discussed with. But you brought out Rahul Gandhi because you know that that's an easy pot shot. But no problem. I'll allow you that pot shot. The fact of the matter is you helped the BJP win in Goa, and you're not taking a stand on Margaret Alva. For my good friend Akshay Marathe, again, a lot of respect for him. He had to say what he has to say. Ultimately, the AAP will come and vote with Margaret Alva ji. I'm telling you this on record. But here's the fact of the Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, who's a super chief minister of Punjab, running Punjab from Delhi, is putting cases on farmers and the Congress.
And that's the arrogance. Akshay Marathe,
no, please.
Akshay Marathe, is the Congress party taking your support for granted? Just the way it did the TMC? Is this, is Mr. Tehseen Poonawala displaying the arrogance which is really the legacy of the Congress party that he carries? Yeah, you're an analyst, but related to the family that matters in the Congress party.
Take my point at least, please.
1 minute, I'm asking Akshay Marathe.
No, what is he accusing Sushmita of? What are you accusing Sushmita?
I'm the chairperson of the UPA, Sonia
Rahul Gandhi is low-hanging fruit. So Sushmita went for it. He is admitting that Rahul Gandhi is low-hanging fruit.
Rahul...
No, I never said that. I said Sonia Gandhi.
Of course they know it.
You are acting out as Rahul Gandhi when he is not the chairperson of the UPA.
So
opposition unity has to be decided by Sonia Gandhi. I'm sorry?
Sushmita Dev, more than Tehseen Poonawala, you know the Congress party. Do you buy the argument? 1 minute, Tehseen. Sushmita Dev, do you buy the argument that Rahul Gandhi is neither the president of the Congress, nor is he the working president, nor the vice president, and therefore, why are you accusing him of being in London? Do you believe the Congress party runs, without Rahul Gandhi saying what he wants?
And could they dial Mrs. Gandhi?
I think I just know so much about how the Congress party runs and what Rahul Gandhi runs that I think I'm just not going to dignify the political analyst with anything. I'm going to spare him. But okay, let me come back to the main debate. You see, the point is...
But please educate the viewers of this country. Please educate the viewers of this country. You have a duty towards the viewers, the people of India.
See, Navika, let me tell you something. Rahul Gandhi ji calls the shot, and everybody inside Congress looks up to him for decisions. Doesn't matter what post he holds. And I'll tell Mr. Poonawala, take it as a compliment. Your leader wants you to say that. Rahul Gandhi doesn't like the fact that you're telling him that he's not this and he's not that. I mean, I don't know if you're authorized to speak for the Congress, but they wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like you to say things like that about Rahul Gandhi. You've got the wrong narrative as far as the Congress is concerned. See, you said, let me address the issue that you said we are helping the BJP in Goa. Do you know why the Bharatiya Janata Party is coming back to power again and again? Because quoting a bigger analyst than you, Prashant Kishore, in 180 seats, it is the Congress versus BJP, a direct fight, which is Congress is repeatedly losing. Congress should decide to literally exit some states like Odisha, Bengal, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam. If they decide to just exist and die there, an alternative will be able to come up. You see, you have to know when to pull the plug.
But they've exited. They've exited Bengal. They have zero. They have zero number of seats in Bengal, so they have exited Bengal. But GVL Narsimha Rao is raising his hand and wanting to come in. I've been unfair.
They contested.
Yeah, they contested, but they don't win anything.
You cut our vote. Congress helped the BJP in Bengal by contesting.
Now, speaking of Goa, I want to remind...
Okay, all right. GVL Narsimha Rao. GVL Narsimha Rao. GVL Narsimha.
I want to remind Tehseen that 5 of the 10 Congress MLAs in Goa are already working with the BJP. So it is the Congress which is responsible for the rise of the BJP.
When we began the debate...
Well, Mr. Political Analyst, I think you should pack your bags. Not only the Congress's business is over, even the political analyst business is over as of now. GVL Narsimha Rao.
No, Navika, when the debate began, I thought as usual I was pitted against 3 members of the opposition. But now the competitive arrogance of 3 opposition parties is on display on this very debate. And this is dissonance is not because they want to have one-upmanship over the other. The reality is they find it is impossible to take on BJP, led by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who is following the real democratic politics. None of these parties run on democratic principles. Most of them are family parties, where only a family counts or an individual counts. That's not the case with the BJP. That's where people can see the real democracy is flourishing in the BJP, while the family shops are actually trying to protect only their interests. Today, what the Congress party has done in Delhi, we had a debate on a bill in Rajya Sabha on the weapons of mass destruction. This was a bill to amend the Weapons of Mass Destruction Act, and the Congress party was absent. And there was a discussion in the morning. There were a number of important questions being discussed in the question hour. The opposition, including the Aam Aadmi Party, the Trinamool Congress, will not let this happen. They are quite anti-democratic. They are not allowing Parliament to function. There were questions on employment, there were questions on media, there were questions on the courts, of functioning of courts and justice, but they were not interested in this debate. I think the opposition is increasingly competing with each other in Parliament.
That's the big question and the big debate coming up on the other side, and we'll take up that issue. that issue on how the ED unites the Congress party like nothing else does, but latest numbers that are coming in from the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha, and this is the announcement that's come in. 6.76 lakh is the vote value of Droupadi Murmu, and she has been declared the winner of this elections. That translates to about 64% of the votes. Yashwant Sinha about 3.8 lakh votes. That is what has gone to Yashwant Sinha. So clearly 64% of the votes going to Droupadi Murmu, while the opposition seems to be in absolute disarray over this entire issue. The fact is, arrogance and competitive politics within the opposition really keeps them bereft of ideas on how to take on the BJP. The question is, will this translate into 2024 election results? Well, the jury is still out on that, but it is advantage NDA, it is advantage Narendra Modi at this point in time, and the opposition clearly now getting ready for the next round of sharpening their knives for the vice president election, of which Mamata Banerjee has walked out of supporting the opposition candidate. More will unfold as time goes by. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.